Good morning, WordCamp Riverside 2017. It is my pleasure to introduce Jarrett Gucci, who is going to teach you all about today how to push forward a blogging calendar and push it on a schedule. Jarrett, we'd like to give you this as a thank you. Take it away.
All right. Thank you so much. So I got some really exciting news to begin with. You ready? This is the last presentation before lunch. That's some good news, isn't it? But actually, what I really need right now is your complete and full attention, just for a moment at least. What I'm about to say is probably the most important part of my entire talk. Is everybody paying attention? The best way to become an expert is to write. Let me say that again. The best way to become an expert in your industry or your topic of interest is to write. Now, I am a happily married man and the proud father of 5 beautiful daughters, ranging in age from 5-year-old twins all the way up to a 17-year-old boy crazy teenager. Now, you can just imagine the chaos and the long list of tasks that we must get through every day in our household, right? Who's got kids? Well, you know the pain. Now, with all this that's going on, it's very hard for me to find time to write. After many years of just pushing out articles without any rhyme or reason, I decided to smarten up. I simplified my writing strategy into 3 simple steps. You want to hear what they are? All right, so we have step 1, be organized. See, being organized will ensure that you stay productive. Okay? Step 2, be consistent. Consistency is critical in building an audience, right? And step 3, be knowledgeable. If you don't know what you're talking about when you're writing, the type of engagement that you're going to get is not going to be positive engagement. You have to know what you're doing. All right. Without looking at your phone or your computer, can anybody in here tell me what the very first blog that was ever online? Does anybody know? So the very first blog was created by a gentleman named Justin Hall. And this was back in 1994. Justin Hall had this crazy idea of creating a website where he could share his thoughts and opinions with other people on the internet. What a stupid, wacky idea, right? In 1994, Justin Hall created links.net. It's actually still online. Nothing fancy, but it's still there. He's still blogging regularly. Now, by 1996, there were only 23 blogs on the web. By 2006, there were over 50 million. And I couldn't find any to-date stats, but I would assume it's probably in the billions, right? I mean, a few of us probably have a couple ourselves. Now, many of these blogs that are online are just money-making machines, right? And I thought it'd be kind of fun to highlight the top 10 money-making blogs that exist online. We have number 10, Tuts Plus, $175,000 a month. We have number 9, Smashing Magazine. Anybody read that? It's a cool one, right? $215,000 a month. Gizmodo, $325,000 per month. Perez Hilton. Anybody read that? $575,000 per month. Copy Blogger, $1 million a month. TechCrunch, $2.5 million per month. Mashable, $3 million per month. Moz, $4.25 million per month. And Gadget, $5.5 million per month. Anybody want to guess the number 1 money-making blog? Amazon? Nope. It's a news blog. I'll give you a hint. Huffington Post. $14 million per month. That's crazy. That's a lot of money. I'd be happy with number 10. $14 million per month. Why is it important to blog at all? There's many platforms out there that you can use for free and you can write, and you can engage people, and you can share things. Why is blogging so important? Just shout it out. Why is blogging important? Advertising. What makes blogging different than any of these networks that you see in this slide? Share content. You can do that on those. Personal. You can be personal on those. You own it. You're in full control of everything that you do in your blog. Full control. You're not in control with any of those. Blogging is very important because you have full control over the content. What are some of the benefits of creating and maintaining a successful blog? You can shout these out at me as well. Content, yep. Regular posting, consistency, okay. What are some other benefits? SEO? What do all these things like get you in the end, right? Money, yeah, money. Come on. So blogging gives you a voice. It gives you a platform where you can share your thoughts and opinions and expertise. It gives you industry credibility. Any business owners in here that do prospecting? You can guarantee every time you give a quote to somebody or a proposal, they are going to go online and look into your company. You can guarantee it. You're not going to see it happen, but it is going to happen. Maintaining a successful blog can help boost your industry credibility and close more deals, right? You can build a list that you can use to market your products and services to, right? We all do that, I'm sure. Audience participation. You can bring the people that are interested in what you have to say into the conversation. Search engine juice, said it. We all love more of that, right? And of course, we're going to get more site traffic. And then finally, if you're managing a very successful blog, it can open up some advertising opportunities so you can make money while you sleep. Who wants to make money while they sleep? It's good, right? So we live in a society full of phobias. It's true. There is literally a phobia for every single fear out there, right? For example, we have the fear of the color purple. Is there anybody in here scared of the color purple? See, nobody ever admits to that. And that's probably another phobia. They're afraid to admit that they're afraid of the color purple. It's crazy. What about fear of dinner parties? I kind of get that one, right? Awkward conversation, you got to meet new people. This one I don't understand. Fear of sourness? I love Sour Patch Kids. Those are my favorite. This next one is for all the designers in the room. The fear of opinions. For sure. I suffer from it. My wife tells me every day. Fear of opinions. And then finally, we have the fear of almost everything. Now, I couldn't officially find a phobia for the fear of blogging, but I know it exists. I've seen its ugly head. I'm sure there is. And it wreaks havoc in the minds and the hearts of those people that want to blog. So if any of you are suffering from the fear of blogging, we're going to do some healing today. Okay? You ready to get healed? All right. Hallelujah? Hallelujah. Okay. Yes. So let's talk about that a little bit. What are some of the things that hold people back from creating and maintaining a successful blog? What are they? Shout them out. Time. What else? Effort, energy, knowledge. That's a good one. Not doing it right. So user error. Perfection. Yeah. So all of these are absolutely a fact that hold people back, right? But there's actually three main things that hold people back from creating and maintaining a successful blog. The first thing is they have no idea what to write about. Writer's block. We've all been there. Sometimes some more than others, but we've all been there, right? Now, the second main thing that hold people back from creating and maintaining a successful blog is the time to do it. That's a big one, right? Do any of you have extra time? No. And if you do, you're doing something wrong. But let's say you know what to write about. Let's say you find the time to do it. The third thing that holds people back from creating and managing a successful blog is getting people to read it. Right? You could write the best article in the world, right? And I'm sure we all think every article we write is the best. But if nobody reads it, it has no benefit ultimately, right? So what's the plan? We are going to talk about what the 20-30 rule is. We're going to talk about the things that you need to do it. And then I'm going to show you exactly how to execute it. Good plan? And then lunch after. All right, even better. Okay, so throughout this presentation, you are going to see underlined brown text. And these are hand-selected hyperlinks that take you off to more information as it pertains to this talk. The slides are actually already available. If you want to grab them now, that's fine. But I will put this at the end of the presentation so you can grab that. But there is stuff in here that you need to execute the 20-30 rule, okay? All right, now before we get really deep into this, it's important to understand that WordPress is not the only platform that you can use to create and maintain a successful blog, okay? Now, in my opinion, and hopefully shared by many of you in this room, it is the best platform, but it's not the only one. But I believe it's the best, and I'm going to show you some supporting facts, and this is probably my favorite slide in my whole presentation. WordPress is used worldwide. It can be translated into just about every language that exists. It powers over 27% of the websites online. That's a lot of sites, right? WordPress sites publish 17 posts per second. Per second. WordPress blogs receive 5.5 million comments per month. It's a lot of commenting. How many of you think are positive? 10%? So 3. 37 million global monthly searches for WordPress content. That's massive. And then one of my favorite stats here, 635 WordCamps in 68 countries, and because of Riverside, 636. Yeah. This slide is amazing, and I use some version of this in every presentation I do at WordCamp because it humbles me to be part of such a great community. But the reason WordPress is the best software to create and maintain a successful blog is because of the community. And this slide proves it, okay? Be proud. All right, how often should we blog? Shout it out.
As often as we can.
Love that answer. That's a little broad though. Let's give it a number value. How often? Daily? What else?
No less than weekly.
What?
No less than weekly.
Weekly? Okay. What else? Once a month? Once a quarter?
Something consistently.
Consistently, yeah. So think for a moment about newspapers. Anybody have seen a newspaper? Okay. They still exist, right? How often does the LA Times come out?
Every day.
Why?
Because they give people every day to read the news.
What happens if the LA Times went to a 3-day-a-week schedule or a 5-day-a-week schedule? Lose customers, less money. Would the news be accurate or would it be delayed? Right? And the same concept goes with news programs as well, right? The news actually, the local news comes out 3 times a day, right? There's a morning, there's an afternoon, and there's a nightly news. So that comes out 3 times a day. But just the newspaper, I think some newspapers even have a morning version and a nightly version, right? Consistency. That is critical to building an audience. Okay, this is the scary slide. Okay, everybody please take a deep breath. I'm always very nervous talking about this slide. Is everybody relaxed? Okay. The 20-30 rule is 20 posts in 30 days. I'll just give you a second to take it in. Nobody's got up and left yet. Nobody's thrown something at me. So we're on a good track right now. I'm excited. It's going to get worse. 20 posts a month, taking 30 minutes each, is only 10 hours of your time per month. I like them. They're like, that's doable. But a lot of you are thinking, there's no way I can write a blog post in 30 minutes. And I agree with you. But I'm going to show you a way. Okay? So there's some things that you need to actually execute the 20-30 rule. They're crucial. It won't work without these things. The very first thing and most important thing that you need is a WordPress blog. This whole concept is based around WordPress, okay? The second thing you need is an editorial calendar plugin, which is a free plugin at wordpress.org. The third thing you need is a Yoast SEO plugin. How many people are using Yoast already? Okay. And the fourth and final thing, and most important, is the 20-30 blogging schedule. And I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like later. All these are hyperlinks that will take you off to that stuff. So going back to that statement that there's no way that you can write a blog post in 30 minutes, okay? And that's true. I do agree with that. You could write a very poor post in 30 minutes, but if you want to write an impactful post that people are going to engage and share, it's going to take you a lot longer than 30 minutes. But there's other ways to publish articles and posts on your site. It's not all about writing unique content, okay? Some of the ways, first one here is what I like to call SOP, and that's syndicate other people's posts. And what you do in this concept, actually before I explain it, think about back in elementary school when you were given a book to read and you had to turn in a book report at the end. Remember those? And we'd like read the first page and the last page, or we'd summarize just the back of the book or something, right? But you would read the book if you were a good student, and then you would write a book report and turn that in. It'd be a summary of what you read. This is one way that you can use SOP to create an article or a post on your site. You can read somebody else's article and summarize it in your own view. Okay? Another version of SOP is literally taking a portion of that article, putting it on your site, and blowing up the credit to the author that wrote it and the site that it came from. That's another very powerful way to use SOP. Both of those things are not going to take you more than 30 minutes. Do we agree? Another thing you can do is you can solicit for other authors to become an author on your site. And this is very common. And you'll get to a point in your blog where authors are just coming out of the woodwork asking to write for your site. Okay? Because they're going to generate backlinks to their site or exposure and shares on whatever they're promoting. Okay? Another thing you can do is pay somebody else to write it. That's not going to take you 30 minutes. That's probably the easiest one, but not the most used one because now you're dishing out, right? But that definitely is a way that you can get articles to your site. Content spinning. And I'm not talking about taking a block of text, putting it into a software, and having it spit out different order. That's not the type of content spinning I'm talking about. I'm talking about taking something that you've already wrote, right, an old article or post, and writing it from a different perspective. Maybe a third-party perspective, or whatever the case is, but same topic, same article, but just rewriting it from a different perspective. You're now spinning that content, and it's become unique in that process. That's not going to take as long as writing original, unique content, right? Because you already have the framework. You're just spinning it a little bit. And one of my favorites is actually rinse and repeat. It's my favorite. So if you're using Google Analytics to identify the articles that give you the most traffic, what you need to do is you need to take those articles and change them up a little bit and republish them. Okay? Now, if you're a technical blogger, which I think a lot of us are because we're providing steps and self-help to other people that use WordPress, some of those techniques, they change, right? Because the software changes, or plugins become obsolete, or plugins become better, themes drop. I mean, in technology, things change all the time. And there are other industries where you write technical posts often. So you can take those old posts, you can freshen them up a bit, change the date, the publish date, to bring it back to the top of your blog roll. Okay? Rinse and repeat. Doesn't take more than 30 minutes. Very, very easy. And if you identify the really big traffic getters, those are the best ones to rinse and repeat.
What time period do you say, like, if you're rinse and repeating, should it be months old, years old?
Well, just think of yourself as a reader, right? If you're following something like the Huffington Post, right? They're publishing like maniacs. Now, what you read maybe last week on their site would already be forgotten, right? As a reader. So if you're consistent on your site and you're publishing regularly, the post you wrote a couple weeks ago, I mean, it's unlikely that anybody remembers it. But if you're looking at a traffic driving post, it's probably older than a few weeks, right? It's probably a couple months, more likely 3 months or older, because SEO hasn't built up yet in a couple weeks, right? But the frequency, depends on each individual site. Does that answer?
Yeah, so does it, if you're, within a couple months of each other, let's say you have a bigger website that is pretty successful, it's not going to hurt your analytics or anything to have similar posts within a couple months of each other. It's not going to lead us like 3 feet or whatever.
I mean, if the content is different, then they're just similar. They're not identical. So that's not going to hurt at all. If you do a rinse and repeat, one thing that I do fail to mention sometimes is don't change the URL. Okay, because that URL has some Google juice, right? So if you change the permalink or the URL of that post, then you're going to lose all that. What I'm talking about is freshening up the content only, not even the title, but you may add to the title, but basically just freshening up the content.
Oh, so you're taking an old piece, rewriting that piece, not creating a new piece based on it.
You're not even rewriting it. That's the beauty of it. You're adding to it or you're adjusting it. A real easy thing is, video. They've been saying video is the future forever. They're still saying that because it's still the future, right? So if you have an article that was a big traffic driver, and you came across some video on YouTube that relates to that article, you could go and embed that in your article now, right? And you've freshened it up just by embedding a video. Okay, so that's something you can do. Or you can put somebody else's article into your article, so you've freshened up that content.
You mentioned at your first point, the soft syndicating other people's posts. How do you avoid duplicate content?
Well, you're giving credit. So if that relationship is captured, right, where you're linking back to the original article, then you're not creating duplicate content. And they've already got the credit because they published way before you, right?
Okay.
So they're already indexed for that content,
Right.
hopefully, unless it hasn't been indexed yet. But it's not a duplicate content.
I'm not even talking about like from a reader's perspective. I'm talking about searching.
Yeah.
Grabbing a section of their content. If Google is seeing the link back, will be enough to tell it this isn't a duplicate. It's an excerpt.
I'm not an SEO guy, so I could find out and get back to you. But I mean, you see it all the time in articles. You see quotes with a link back to the full article, right?
So it's a quantity factor.
Yeah. And I would assume Google is smart enough to see that, right? But where you're in a situation where you're just plagiarizing and you're not crediting back that author. So, and schema probably helps with that as well. Schema tags.
Now, you said you backlink it, but do you know follow or follow?
Follow. Yeah, follow. You're giving credit. I would follow.
So you follow on your own website.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of like spam later on?
Not spam. No. Why would it be spam?
Let me ask you.
Especially if you're taking that article from a website that has massive page rank, right? It's helpful.
So do you fetch it to Google just with the new information in it?
What do you mean fetch it?
Well, you refresh, you add it to your article.
Yeah.
And you got so much from the search console the first time. You fetch it again to Google. Go to the search console and tell Google to fetch it. I say new article.
So you're getting in depth about the indexing process with Google, which I can't really answer. But the way I understand it, Google will round robin URLs, especially in a WordPress environment, because of the pinging process, right? So every time you update or publish a post, WordPress pings the search engine and say, hey, I got new content here, right? That's how WordPress works, and that's why it's so powerful. So when you update that, the ping process is going to happen automatically without you going to Google Webmaster Tools and saying, fetch this URL and reindex it. It will happen automatically. It'll happen faster if you use Webmaster Tools, but it will happen organically as well every time you update or publish. Okay, pinging. That's the big power of WordPress is the pinging process. And you'll see this when you do a Google search and it'll say like post published 7 minutes ago or something, right? Like it'll give you the timestamp of when a post was published. That pinging process is so popular. So being organized again, like I said, is so important to being productive and staying at a very high level of productivity, right? Now, for many years, I actually just blogged just on a whim, right? I had an idea for a post. I sat down and I wrote it. And then I didn't write another post until I had another idea, right? I didn't plan anything. I didn't lay it out, okay? When you lay something out, and specifically your blogs and your writing process, then you have a plan in place that you can reference back to and execute, right? Make sense? You have to schedule the time for this stuff. And if you can have everything laid out 30 days ahead of time, you're going to feel really good about that. Really good. So the very first step of the 20-30 rule is filling out your blogging schedule, okay? This is key. This is the whole money right here. And the blogging schedule is a very simple spreadsheet that my team and I created about 4 years ago. And we used this to teach business owners how to be organized when it came to writing, because we were getting really exhausted trying to explain it to them. So we just created a simple spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet is broken up into weeks. There's 5 weeks down here. We're looking at week 1, and we're basing the 20-30 rule off a 5-day work week, right? We want you to relax on the weekends, okay? So we're saying blog Monday through Friday. We have our author, we have our due date, and then our publish date. And I'm going to show you where this information goes to shortly. And then there's a drop down here to select what type of blog process you're going to use. We went through those. Original content, outsource would be hiring somebody, SOP, rinse and repeat, or content spin, okay? The next thing here is we can start with a focus keyword, and you can actually skip that step if you want to. But we start with a focus keyword, and what we can do is we can take that focus keyword and then bring it into our title, bring it into our content summary, and bring it into our call to action or offer, if there is one. So you'll see just an example here, and basically we're going to set that up for the entire month. Okay? And you're just going to have an idea. It can change. It's not set in stone. But we're going to sit down and do this first. The first time you do this will take you about maybe 2 to 4 hours. Okay? And let's just go on the high side, 4 hours, right? But the second, third, and fourth time, that time's going to come down. Okay? So if you put aside 4 hours to create an outline of all the posts you're going to write for the month, that'd make you feel pretty good, right? Now, we haven't wrote them yet, but at least you have your blueprint, right? You feel confident that you can actually do it. So once this is all filled out, the next step we're going to do is we're going to install our editorial plugin, okay? And once we do that, it's going to create a a new link underneath our post section in our admin area. And it's really cool. Has anybody ever used this plugin? Okay. It's really cool. Free plugin. It's going to give us a calendar view. And when we hover over these dates, it's going to say there's going to be a new post link. Okay? When we click on that new post link, a little flyout's going to appear. That's going to give us an area for the title, the content, and then this is just a status and time. And basically all we're going to do is we're going to transfer that information in that spreadsheet into our editorial calendar. Okay? Just these two items here, the summary and the title. Now we haven't wrote the article yet, and we may not even be writing it. Depending on what process we selected for that day, we haven't wrote it yet. And the reason I said earlier about doing this 30 days ahead, because it gives you time to complete it, right? Gives you time. And you'll notice there's a due date, and then there's a publish date. So the publish date would be the date that you click on the calendar, but you give yourself a buffer, right? It says due on the 5th, but don't publish till the 8th. If you make your due date and your publish date the same, might not happen. Give yourself a buffer. But again, we're creating a plan. That's all we're doing here is we're creating a plan that we can stick to and we can follow and we can hold ourselves accountable. Versus just, hey, I have a good idea for an article. Let me just put that in my calendar and I'll write it when I have time. We're creating a plan that we can go back and keep ourselves accountable. If you have a business manager or a business coach, you can give them this and they can be on you to say, where are you at? Everybody with me so far? Okay. Now, the third step of the 20-30 rule is getting people to read it, right? So once you've created your blogging schedule, you've put all these into your editorial calendar, you've finished them by the due date, right? They've published. What about the SEO, right? What about getting people to read them? Now, that is a whole talk in itself, right? But what I've done is I've actually created a link for you where you can walk through exactly how Yoast works using an example of cheese pizza. We'll show you how to optimize a post for cheese pizza, which you can build into any article that you create, and the focus keyword, remember, because we put that focus keyword in our blogging schedule, and this will show you how to optimize each and every post, okay? Now, the optimization part is not built into that 10 hours per month, okay? Now, without optimization, if you are writing good content, you are going to get indexed and you're going to possibly rank well. But the optimization gives you a boost, right? But that is not built into that 10 hours, right? Some of us can fly through Yoast pretty quickly, right? As soon as we see green, we're like, well, let's go, right? And others might take us some time, or we try to perfect everything, right? I read something last week that Google wants 2,000 words next year. I hope that's not true. Is it true? 2,000 words. Then this whole thing doesn't even work. But as of now, I think we can get the green light on 900 now, is it? Less? 300. Okay. 300 seems so small nowadays, though, doesn't it? But other things like images and videos and other multimedia things that you can put into your article. Embedded tweets are really good for helping you boost up. And how long does it take you to go find a tweet that relates to your article and embed it in your article? Doesn't take long at all, right? But that 10 hours per month does not include the search engine optimization. So I do have to disclaim that a little bit, right? So the time formula, right? 20 posts in 20 posts per month, taking 30 minutes each is 10 hours per month. Okay? And that's 2.5 hours per week. Now, this is important, so listen very carefully here. You have to schedule this time, 2.5 hours per week. Depending on the type of post you're doing, whether it's rinse and repeat, content spinning, somebody else is writing it for you, you have to track the over and under time. Okay? So then you know that you have more time for the original content, which is going to take a lot of time. Those aren't going to take 30 minutes. But if you paid somebody to write you an article, and in some cases you can do this for less than $20, that's not going to take you any time, right? You might have to proofread though, depending on how good that. But then you can track that under time, and now it adds more time for you to write original content, right? A rinse and repeat might only take you 15 minutes. So now you banked 15 minutes for your original content. But you have to schedule the time. The blogging schedule, like I said, will take you, I'd say 2 to 4 hours, 4 hours on the high side the first time you do it. But once you get used to it, that's going to take you about 2 hours. Okay, so all in, pre-optimization, we're looking at 12 hours a month. That's not bad, right? If you could have a blog that was able to deliver consistent content on a regular basis, and you only had to commit 12 hours a month to it, that's a no-brainer, right? Now, maybe don't be an overachiever. Don't do 5 posts a week. Start with 3. Many people can't even do 1 a week. Start with 1. Ramp up. You don't have to start at 5 and get defeated. You can start small and ramp up as you learn the process. Okay? All right, so I want to give you some free stuff before I finish up here. These are sites that are really great at adding some visual content or text content even to your site. One of my favorite, these are all images. I'm sure we all have our favorite free images. All of this stuff is copyright free, so you can use it. You can embed it in your site with no worries of copyright infringement. A couple of my favorite down here, if you run an education community, you can grab some really good curriculum or education discussion material that you can use on your site. Okay, and one thing I'm still trying to find somebody to verify, but I was told that anything with a .gov extension, all the information on there is copyright free. Is that a fact? This morning, where'd you get it? Oh, okay. Okay.
The government doesn't own it, doesn't put copyright on it. Got it.
They're smart.
Security apparatus just doesn't cover anything.
So anything .gov, if it relates to your industry or your topic of interest, you can use that content, right?
Organization, also like if it's a
.org.
as long as you reference the organization you got it from, like we blog a lot for the medical community. So a lot of times .org stuff for us, as long as we're referencing where we pull statistics and stuff like that.
And they probably love that.
Love it, and it's also we do links with our search help index pages that are links where you got statistics and stuff from it.
Love it.
Copyright attorney would say don't trust this.
No, it's
Not the way .gov works.
some other gems for you. When you're sitting down and creating that blogging schedule, something that can really help you go through it quickly is just coming up with the titles of your posts. Because once you have the title, then you can kind of think, oh yeah, I could write about that, right? So I put together 102, well, let me go back. I put together 102 proven attention-getting headlines that can be fit into any industry or topic, okay? Now, anybody play Mad Libs? Remember Mad Libs back in the day? Mad Libs was fun, wasn't it? Yeah. I got in trouble one time because I put some bad words in there. I had to go to the principal. Oh, I got in big trouble. But this is basically set up like Mad Libs. It gives you a phrase with a blank in it that you can put in to reference your industry or your topic of choice. But these are the headlines that will grab people's attention when they're shared on social media or they show up in a search result, right? And it also will help you do that first step of what you're going to write about. Kind of fills that in for you. And then there's some other things here. It's interesting. Fiverr, like there's barely anything on Fiverr that's actually $5 anymore. Like everything's so expensive on Fiverr. But what's happened is there's become more quality gigs that are offered on Fiverr because, people actually are charging what they should be charging for their time. But these are some hand-selected gigs that you can find on Fiverr that for a little bit of money, you can actually get some posts written. And those can be some of the articles that you fill into your 30 days of post, right? You got to spend some money to make money. So just some gems for you. And then just to wrap up here, remember the 3 steps to simplify your writing process is you have to be organized, you have to be consistent, and most importantly, you really have to be knowledgeable. So if we have time for questions, we got 5 minutes for questions. Nice.
And indexed by the alphabet for that topic you put in. So if you're trying to think of a question block to type, so like, why is this a thing? Answer the public is telling you the most commonly asked through Google. And it's a great way to come up with topics for one topic, but to write it in 5.
Like a series. And that it sounds like a great tool to find your focus keywords.
Yeah.
And then there was a talk this morning that talked about cornerstone content, which I haven't dabbled too much with, but I guess it's like super powerful. Who's doing cornerstone? Do you see like big benefit?
We haven't yet. We just relaunched September, but we definitely built the site around
that. Okay. Yeah, that sounds super exciting. But that site you're talking about is probably great for cornerstone because you can create like a whole series around one topic.
Exactly. So like we write for plastic surgeons, our company does respectively, and so a lot of times we go in and we'll just put a procedure, and it will be, why should I do this? What is the recovery like? And we can come up with
All your titles right there.
for one procedure.
Yeah. What's the site again? Say it loud.
Answerthepublic.com.
Answerthepublic.com. Okay.
And if you for some reason write for foreign countries, it also gives it to you based on countries. So make sure you're clicking US, but it will give you UK and a bunch of different like Italy.
Love it. Wow, that's a good one.
Have you found a time that you like for your posts?
That's a good question. So the way we deliver is using MailChimp automation. And there's an option in MailChimp that they pick the time. So it's not available on the free version, but they'll actually pick the time based on where that. Yeah, and I don't know how they come up with that algorithm that picks the best delivery time, but delivery time's hard. I don't know. It's hard. Like if you have a mommy blog, right? You can probably figure out like moms early in the morning, late at night, right? During the day, they're busy, but delivery time's hard, and it's probably different for every industry. What do you do?
We had been doing later at night, which kind of ended up being next day stuff.
Okay.
But I think we're playing with 10 a.m. right now.
10 a.m.
It's about the time that the tech crowd is awake and at work.
That second cup of coffee. 10 a.m. Yeah.
So I'm curious if you have a setup or a recommended setup for syndicating what's on your WordPress site to Google Plus, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitter 3 times a day. So your Twitter feed is interesting and full of content.
So sharing the posts you write on the other platforms. We use Hootsuite because you can take that blogging schedule. You can actually have the permalinks ready to go, even though it's not published yet. And then you can plug those into Hootsuite, and then Hootsuite will also deliver it to Facebook as well. Sorry, don't use Google Plus, but yeah, I tried to use it for a while, but yeah, Indonesia. Any other question? Last question. So I would love if everybody would share my post. I would love it. And if they do it in an ethical way, I have no problem with it. I think most authors would probably follow that same thinking, because the whole reason that they wrote that post is to get eyeballs on it, right? But as long as it's shared and used in an ethical way, I don't see an author, being upset that it was shared, right?
What would you do to make sure that it's ethical?
Now,
Obviously,
there might be some posts that legally you can't do that. I don't know, financial industry maybe, health industry. You want to answer, Jen? Yeah.
Sharing it on social, you can do it anytime, right? You can share their original post, but I don't think you're allowed to do more than 30% of their article. You're incorporating
like no more than say 30%.
Yeah, I think that's
Paragraphs and then
fair use.
And-
But it depends because it could be educational, it could be, and really that 30% you don't really want to do. You just want to reference them.
Yeah. 30%'s a lot too.
Right.
Go more like 10, like a quote, right?
No, but 30% of your article, you can't have more than 30% of your article referencing their.
Referencing that. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's not that you can take 30% of theirs and then write a short article.
Okay. I think.
I
Oh.
just